Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a powerful question. What is taking up space in your life that doesn't deserve to be there? See, too many people are not failing because of what they don't have. They are failing because of what they refuse to delete. You can't download the next level if your system is still full of junk files. Let me tell you something powerful. Every time you make an excuse, you hand over a piece of your destiny to the enemy of your future. Excuses are not harmless little words. They are invisible chains that keep you bound to a life you were never meant to live. And here's the truth. You will either make excuses or you will make progress, but you cannot make both. So the very first thing you need to delete from your life is excuses. I want you to think about this. How many times have you said, I don't have the time, when the reality is you didn't manage the time? How many times have you said, I don't have the money, when the truth is you didn't create the strategy? Excuses are the stories we create to comfort ourselves for staying stuck. But let me ask you, is your comfort worth your calling? Because every time you choose the excuse, you bury the opportunity. The problem with excuses is that they sound so reasonable. They dress themselves up as logic. I didn't start the business because the economy is bad. I didn't pursue the dream because I'm too old. I didn't step into my purpose because I don't have support. But listen closely. The economy is not your God. Your age is not your limitation. Lack of support is not your destiny. What limits you is not the obstacle, it's the excuse you attach to the obstacle. Here's the hook. People don't fail because of what they lack. They fail because of what they allow. And excuses are the permission slips you write for yourself to fail gracefully. You don't need another excuse to explain why you didn't succeed. You need a reason so strong that it makes excuses irrelevant. I want you to imagine your future self 10 years from now. That version of you is either thanking you for deleting excuses today or resenting you for holding on to them. Which one will it be? See, regret is the price you pay for excuses, but reward is the gift you receive for execution. Let me drop this truth on you. Excuses keep you busy doing nothing. They trick you into thinking that because you're explaining, you're progressing. But the world doesn't pay you for explanations. It pays you for execution. Nobody gets rich explaining why they couldn't. They get rich by showing how they did. When you delete excuses, you create room for responsibility. Responsibility is the seed of success. When you say, if it's to be, it's up to me, you flip the switch from victim to victor. Excuses are the language of victims, but responsibility is the anthem of victors. You can't speak both languages at once. Think about the wealthiest, most impactful people in history. Do you really think they didn't face obstacles? Of course they did. The difference is that they didn't bow to the excuse. They rose to the challenge. While others were saying, I can't, they were saying, I must. While others were waiting for the perfect conditions, they were creating them. Excuses wait for the storm to pass. Responsibility builds the ark in the rain. So here's the challenge the next time you hear yourself saying, I can't because I want you to stop and replace it with, how can I? That one shift deletes the excuse and downloads the solution. I don't have the money turns into, how can I create the money? I don't have the time turns into, how can I make the time? That is how champions think. Every excuse you delete increases your power. Every excuse you delete creates space for progress. Every excuse you delete brings you one step closer to the life you were designed to live. The question is not whether you have excuses. The question is whether you're willing to delete them before they delete your destiny. Let me ask you a hard but necessary question. Who are you allowing to speak into your life? And are they lifting you up or dragging you down? Because the truth is, you cannot soar with eagles if you keep scratching around with chickens. Some of you are weighed down not because of your potential, but because of your proximity. The second thing you must delete from your life is toxic relationships. And let me tell you, this is one of the hardest things for people to do because loyalty often blinds us to reality. But hear me well. Loyalty to the wrong people is disloyalty to your own destiny. Toxic relationships are dream killers. They whisper doubts into your confidence. They magnify your weaknesses and they minimize your strengths. You can have the best vision in the world, but if you surround yourself with people who only see problems, you will start doubting your own sight. Your environment will always out-talk your intentions. That's why you must be intentional about who you let close. The people closest to you are either watering your faith or poisoning it. Here's a hook you need to catch. You don't just rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your associations. You can't expect to live at millionaire mindset if you're hanging out with people who are addicted to mediocrity. If everyone around you is comfortable staying broke, staying lazy, staying stuck, guess what? Their comfort zone will become your cage. I want you to think about it. Why do some people feel drained every time they share their dreams? Because they keep telling their vision to people who don't have the capacity to understand it. It's like trying to explain phi to a caveman. No matter how good your explanation is, they just won't get it. Some of you need to stop seeking approval from people who are not even qualified to advise you. Toxic people often wear two disguises. The first is the critic. They always have something negative to say, always pointing out why it won't work, why you can't do it, why you should settle. The second disguise is the pretender. They smile in your face, but secretly hope you fail so they feel better about staying small. And the danger is if you don't delete them, their words will become your inner voice. Here's another truth sometimes. It's not even about what toxic people say. It's about what they don't say. They don't celebrate your wins. They don't clap for your progress. They don't push you forward. Silence can be as toxic as criticism. When you notice that someone only shows up for your struggles but disappears when you succeed, you've already identified a relationship you need to delete. And I know the objection, but I've known them for years. They're family. They've been around forever. Longevity doesn't equal value. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they deserve a front row seat to your future. Some people were only meant to be part of your journey for a season, but you've turned them into a lifetime subscription. That's why you feel stuck. I'm not telling you to be cruel. I'm telling you to be clear. You don't have to fight them, argue with them, or prove them wrong. Just create space. Because the moment you delete toxic relationships, you create room for divine connections. And hear this clearly: one, right relationship can change your whole destiny. The wrong people drain your energy, but the right people multiply it. The wrong people doubt your dreams, but the right people invest in them. The wrong people laugh at your vision, but the right people help you build it. Your future is too valuable to waste it on dead weight. You have to make a decision. Do I want to keep pleasing people, or do I want to keep pursuing purpose? You cannot do both. You cannot chase approval and chase destiny at the same time. Choose wisely, because the people you walk with today determine the place you will arrive at tomorrow. Let me give you a reality check that might sting a little. Procrastination is the silent assassin of dreams. It doesn't come with alarms. It doesn't knock on your door. It just slowly steals your time. And before you know it, you've wasted years waiting for the right moment. You cannot afford to live like that. Every day you procrastinate, you are pushing your destiny one step further away. And here's the truth. You don't have a time management problem. You have a priority problem. What you delay is what you devalue. Think about this. How many times have you said, I'll start tomorrow, only for tomorrow to become next week, then next month, then next year? The graveyard is filled with people who had incredible dreams but kept postponing them. They thought they had more time, but time ran out. The danger with procrastination is that it feels harmless in the moment. You convince yourself you're just resting, just preparing, just waiting. But the reality is you're wasting the only currency that cannot be refunded: time. Here's a hook you need to grab. Procrastination promises you comfort now, but costs you greatness later. And let me ask you, is the comfort of later worth the pain of regret? Because regret weighs tons heavier than discipline. Discipline hurts today, but regret hurts forever. Opportunities don't wait for you to get ready. They show up when they're supposed to. And if you procrastinate, they pass you by and land in the hands of someone who was willing to act. The market doesn't reward the person with the best idea. It rewards the person with the fastest execution. You don't get paid for what you plan to do. You get paid for what you actually do. I've heard people say, I'm just waiting for the perfect timing. Let me shatter that myth for you. There will never be a perfect time. The stars will never align in a way that makes everything easy and comfortable. Winners don't wait for perfect timing. They create momentum in imperfect conditions. If you're waiting for the right moment, you'll be waiting forever. Here's another hook. Procrastination is the arrogance of assuming God owes you more time. You're not promised tomorrow, yet you act like you'll live forever. What if the only window for your destiny was today? What if the opportunity you keep postponing was the very door to your breakthrough, but you were too busy scrolling, sleeping, or stalling to step through it? When you delete procrastination, you unlock progress. Action creates clarity. You may not have all the answers, but movement will reveal them. Sitting still only multiplies your doubts, but taking one step forward builds confidence. Success doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from starting with what you know and growing along the way. Think about this. Procrastination doesn't just delay your success, it delays your growth. Every day you postpone taking action is another day you stay the same. And if you keep staying the same, don't expect a different future. Your future changes the moment your actions change. Some people procrastinate because of fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. But listen carefully. The fear of failure never goes away. It only gets weaker when you act. Action is the antidote to fear. The longer you wait, the bigger the fear grows. The faster you act, the faster it shrinks. So the next time you feel yourself hesitating, stop and ask, what is this delay costing me? Because it's costing you something: time, money, growth, opportunities, relationships, impact. The bill for procrastination is always due, and it's always expensive. But the reward for action is always greater. Every moment you hesitate, someone else is moving while you're thinking they're doing. While you're waiting, they're winning. The question is, do you want to be a spectator of success or a participant in it? You decide that not by your intentions, but by your actions. Let me tell you something that can transform your life instantly. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not with the economy, not with competitors, not even with other people. It's with yourself. Specifically, it's with that small, sneaky, poisonous voice called self-doubt. Self-doubt is the silent thief of destiny. It convinces you that you are not enough, that you are unqualified, that you don't have what it takes. And the tragedy is that most people never lose to the world outside. They lose to the world inside. Here's the truth you must grab: self-doubt doesn't show up because you lack ability. It shows up because you lack belief. And the gap between where you are and where you want to be is not filled by talent or luck. It's filled by belief. If you don't believe in you, it doesn't matter who else does. Confidence is not about ignoring your weaknesses. It's about focusing on your strengths until they overpower the fear of your weaknesses. Think about it. How many times have you talked yourself out of an opportunity? The job was ready, but you said, I'm not qualified. The business idea was solid, but you said, I'm not ready. The stage was open, but you said, I'm not good enough. Here's the hook: you are not losing to the opportunity. You are losing to the argument in your own head. Self-doubt is dangerous because it disguises itself as humility. It whispers, don't aim too high, don't dream too big, don't put yourself out there. But real humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less while still honoring what God put inside you. When you doubt yourself, you're not being humble. You're being disobedient to your potential. You're basically telling your Creator, you made a mistake with me. And that's not humility, that's disrespect. Let me give you a powerful perspective. Every person you admire once doubted themselves. Every great leader, every entrepreneur, every innovator had moments of uncertainty. The difference is they didn't let doubt decide their destiny. They felt it, but they acted anyway. Courage is not the absence of doubt. It's the decision to move forward in spite of it. Self-doubt thrives on delay. The more you hesitate, the louder it gets. But the moment you take action, it begins to shrink. That's why people who constantly act seem confident. It's not because they never feel doubt. It's because they've trained themselves not to listen to it. Action silences doubt. Here's another hook. Self-doubt doesn't stop your future. It only stops your present. And if it stops your present long enough, your future eventually dies of starvation. That book you never wrote, that business you never launched, that idea you never shared, those are all casualties of self-doubt. The question is, how many more of your dreams are you willing to bury? You cannot afford to keep letting self-doubt run your life. You are equipped, you are capable, and you are already enough. You don't need more approval, you don't need more permission, you need more belief. Every time you doubt yourself, remind yourself, I was not created by accident, I was designed with purpose. If God placed me here, then He placed inside me everything I need to succeed here. Stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I fly? Stop saying, I'm not enough. And start saying, I'm more than enough. Stop shrinking your dreams to fit your doubts and start deleting your doubts to fit your dreams. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't need another person playing small. It needs the full version of you showing up with power. Let me ask you a simple but life-altering question. What are the words coming out of your mouth every single day? Because whether you realize it or not, your words are creating your world. Some people never reach success not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they keep cursing their own future with the poison of complaining. Complaining is not harmless. It's a declaration that you don't trust the process, and it's an announcement to the world that you're focused on problems instead of solutions. Complaining is the language of victims. It convinces you that life is happening to you instead of happening for you. When you complain, You magnify what's wrong until you're blinded to what's right. You rehearse struggles instead of rehearsing strategies. And here's the dangerous part. What you magnify becomes your reality. If you keep talking about lack, you'll keep living in lack. If you keep talking about problems, you'll keep experiencing problems. Here's the hook. Whatever you complain about, you invite more of. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that people who complain the most usually have the least progress? That's not coincidence. It's principle. Complaining doesn't create movement. It creates stagnation. It paralyzes creativity and smothers gratitude. You can't innovate while you're irritated. You can't produce solutions while you're producing excuses with your mouth. Successful people train their mouths to speak solutions. Average people train their mouths to speak struggles. Which group are you in? The truth is, life will always present you with two options. Complain or create. When something doesn't go your way, you can complain about it or you can create a strategy to fix it. When a door closes, you can complain about the door or you can build a new one. When life throws you a storm, you can complain about the rain or you can plant seeds and prepare for the harvest. The same storm that drowns one person is the same storm that waters another person's garden. It all depends on perspective. Here's another hook. Complaining is cheap, but it costs you everything. It doesn't require discipline. It doesn't require faith. It doesn't require action. Anybody can complain. That's why broke people do it so well. But while it feels free in the moment, the cost is astronomical. It costs you your energy. It costs you your relationships. It costs you your influence. And ultimately, it costs you your destiny. Nobody gets promoted by their complaints. People get promoted by their solutions. And I know some people will say, but you don't know what I'm going through. I may not. But here's what I do know. Complaining about it won't change it. Complaining about the economy won't increase your income. Complaining about your boss won't build your business. Complaining about your situation won't unlock your solution. You cannot complain your way into a better life, but you can create your way into one. The most successful people I've met have challenges just like you. The difference is they refuse to waste energy complaining about them. They focus on controlling what they can control and trusting God with the rest. Instead of saying, why me? They say, try me. Instead of saying, it's too hard, they say, how can I get stronger? That's why they win. Because their language aligns with their vision. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you feel a complaint rising up, stop yourself and turn it into gratitude or a solution. Instead of saying, I'm tired of this job, say, I'm grateful I have income while I build my dream. Instead of saying, I don't have enough money, say, how can I create more streams of income? Every time you change your words, you change your reality. Complaining may feel natural, but it is never neutral. It either keeps you stuck or it moves you backward. Gratitude and creativity, on the other hand, are the fuel that move you forward. Stop rehearsing your problems and start rehearsing your possibilities. Because the truth is, the world doesn't reward complainers. It rewards creators. Let me drop a truth bomb on you right now. Comfort zones are the most dangerous prisons you will ever live in. They don't have bars, they don't have guards, but they hold more people hostage than any jailhouse in the world. Comfort zones are dangerous because they feel safe, they feel easy, they feel familiar. But make no mistake, what feels safe is silently suffocating your potential. Nothing great has ever been built inside comfort. Comfort keeps you alive, but it never lets you live. Think about it. Every breakthrough in history came from someone who refused to stay comfortable. Airplanes, electricity, businesses, revolutions. None of these came from people who said, let me just stay where it feels good. They came from people who said, let me step out into the unknown and see what I'm truly capable of. Here's the hook. Comfort zones are where your dreams go to die quietly. They don't kill your dreams with a bang. They starve them with silence. The lie comfort tells you is that you have time. You can start tomorrow. You don't need to stretch today. Play it safe. But while you're safe, someone else is stepping out. While you're comfortable, someone else is growing. While you're waiting, someone else is winning. You're not losing to your lack of ability. You're losing to your addiction to comfort. And let me make this clear. Growth is never found where comfort lies. Growth requires pressure, resistance, stretching. A muscle never gets stronger by staying still. It only grows when you push it beyond what feels easy. The same is true for your mind, your business, your calling. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. If you're not being stretched, you're not progressing. If you're not taking risks, you're not reaching destiny. Here's another hook. Comfort is cheap, but it comes with the most expensive bill, regret. You can pay the price of discomfort today or the price of regret tomorrow, but one way or another, you will pay. And regret is far heavier than the temporary pain of stepping out. People at the end of their lives never regret the risks they took. They regret the chances they didn't take. They regret the dreams they buried under the blanket of comfort. So let me ask you, what have you been putting off because you're comfortable where you are? What dream have you delayed because stretching feels scary? What opportunity have you ignored because it didn't feel convenient? You know exactly what it is, and until you step out of the zone of safety, you'll never step into the arena of greatness. Comfort zones don't just hold you back, they shrink you. They make your world smaller, your faith weaker, your vision dimmer. But the moment you take that first uncomfortable step, your world expands, your faith grows. Your confidence multiplies. The thing you were afraid of suddenly looks small because you had the courage to move through it. That's how champions are made, not by avoiding discomfort, but by embracing it. And don't misunderstand me. Stepping out of your comfort zone doesn't mean recklessness. It means responsibility for your own growth. It means doing the thing you know you need to do even when you don't feel ready. It means saying yes to opportunities that stretch you because stretching creates strength. It means choosing progress over perfection, action over hesitation, and courage over comfort. So the next time life gives you a choice between the easy path and the growth path, remember this. The easy path will always feel good now, but cost you later. The growth path may feel hard now, but it will reward you later. The life you dream of is never waiting inside your comfort. It's always waiting just outside of it. The question is, will you have the courage to step out and claim it?